Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. First of all, you guys know the drill. If you guys please smash that like button, I'd really appreciate it. If you guys could leave a comment down below, I don't care what it is, it super helps the channel out. It is Tuesday, it's bright and early. We're back in the shop. You can see it's a mess. We're kind of fighting the rain and the weather outside. We need a bigger shop, guys. I don't know what to say, but we absolutely need a bigger shop. So we are gonna have to be working towards that every and each day. We come here, we have to remind ourselves that we are working towards a bigger shop, and so that is the goal, to get a bigger shop. Not just because we need more space to put projects in, but because we need more space to put projects in. I mean, we just need a bigger shop, guys. Anyways, you can see here we have a bunch of parts. We have a set of bushwhacker fender flares. We are going to be installing these on a newer Ford F-150, and we also have a visor that we're going to be installing on there as well. Kind of old school, but that's what the customer wants. So these are all prepped out. Teo got all these prepped out yesterday, and we are actually waiting for a progressive insurance adjuster to come by, because there's also a couple repairs we're going to be doing on the body of the truck. So there is an adjuster that needs to come out and take a look at the damage before we do a repair and get it in the shop. So we were hoping to have that adjuster come by yesterday, but no one ever showed up in a progressive car. So crossing my fingers that today we have an adjuster show up so he can do a proper estimate on the F-150, give us a preliminary estimate, and then we can proceed forward with the insurance repairs as well as the customer upgrades as well. You can also see here we have a spoiler for a Subaru WRX. The customer dropped this off and it was in really rough shape. It was all kind of sanded out and lots of fiberglass burn throughs. So we went ahead and finished sanding it out a little bit more, and we went ahead and applied a couple coats of high build primer to give it more of a paintable surface. And Teo went ahead and got this all prepped out yesterday. You can see there he's got it all sanded out. So we'll be painting this as well. Unfortunately, we are still waiting on the adjuster, like I said, and we can't really get this painted until the Acura is painted inside the spray booth, which is probably not going to happen until tomorrow. So it kind of puts us at Thursday for painting small parts. We have a bumper for a Ford Ranger. Now this is an insurance job that's coming in probably in a week or two. When we got the bumper, it did have a couple little nicks on it. Easy fix. It's just going to be a trim black bumper. So we went ahead and fixed up the nick, threw a little primer there, and we are going to go ahead and sand this out and reapply some trim black coating to this bumper, and have it ready for when the customer job comes in. We are still waiting for a fender from the auto wrecker. We do have a hood here. Now this hood came through Gundy's Auto Wrecking here in Bellingham. So we do have the hood ready. It's already sanded on the bottom side, ready for cut in, but we don't really want to cut it in until we have a fender to cut in as well. So we are waiting on that fender, and we'll see what happens. I should probably check in on that today. You can see here we have a cowl induction hood. I got the lamp on it right now. Sean primed this yesterday before he went home. This is actually a warranty job. I painted this hood years and years and years ago. Not exactly sure what happened. I do believe that the customer had drove around for a couple of years with the E-coat hood, and a lot of times that E-coat breaks down and the water penetrates and it starts to get like a little light surface rust underneath the E-coat because the panel wasn't really painted. It had no protection. Not really sure what happened, but we went ahead and took the hood off. We went ahead and knocked it all down and stripped the base coat and the clear coat off all the way back down to bare metal and a little bit of the factory E-coat. And we went ahead and applied a couple coats of high build primer, and we will go ahead and prep this hood out, and we'll go ahead and get it painted black and go ahead and throw it back on the truck. Inside the spray booth, the Acura is prepped and ready, guys. Sean did a awesome job yesterday. Got it all prepped out. Teo and I, at the very end of the day, took it outside and we did a quick light wet sand just to try to make sure that we have no aggressive slash marks or anything like that. Silver metallic colors like to fall into the scratches, so we wanted to make sure we give it a little bit of a quick wet sand. Kind of helps make sure we get a thorough prep job, you know, inside these pockets and the door handle pockets and stuff like that. But you can see here When we were done with that, we went ahead and rinsed it all off, which really helps get the dust out of the car. Makes it easier to tape on, that's for sure. So this thing is ready to mask. You can see I got the exhaust filters out. We're gonna go ahead and clean those out and put some clean, fresh filters back in. And you can see here, there's our color. I watched a little bit of the vlog the other day, and I could tell that you could not really see the flake. And I'm not sure if you guys can see it if I get a little bit closer, but I could tell in the vlog that you couldn't really see the flake. Maybe you could if you turned like the resolution up or something, but I was like, wow, it just looks silver. But anyways, this color looks absolutely awesome, guys. So super pumped. So we're gonna go ahead and do a good precision match job on this vehicle. Of course, the rear door and the roof and the spoiler are already painted. Parts batch, bumpers, door handles, mirrors, stuff like that, already painted. So we really just gotta get this body masked up. You can see I have it positioned in the spray booth where the hood is underneath the intake. The intake is definitely by far the cleanest spot you can spray in. That's always the sweet spot. That's the most dust-free zone because the flow and the pressure is so good right there that we just got good airflow. The closer you get to the exhaust and the door opening, you get a little bit of a tumble of dust, especially when you open and close the door. Usually I try not to paint right by the exhaust because things will just come out a little bit on the dirty side. But this should be just fine, especially since we already painted the back door. But yeah, got everything scuffed up. We are gonna do a hard line about 1/8 of an inch in. I don't really care much for a feather tape line. Feather tapes does have its purpose for a nice soft transition. But in this case where we are actually changing the color slightly and adding a little bit of flake, I actually prefer a nice little hard line. To me, it just looks cleaner. It doesn't look sloppy. Sometimes a feather tape or there's a soft edge can look good, and then there's other times where it just looks really dry and just really crappy. So I'm actually gonna prefer a little bit of a hard line, and we're just gonna go 1/8 of an inch in all the door jambs and all the cracks, nooks and crannies, and put a nice little hard line in the engine compartment, and go ahead and get this thing sealed out. I'm gonna put a nice little coat of epoxy primer on everything, and then we'll go ahead and base it out. We'll do our mid coat with the flake and bury it in clear, but that will be tomorrow, and I will be giving you guys another update after it's painted. So over in the lift bay, I don't use my lift bay as much anymore now that we don't have a mechanic. But as you can see here, I have my buddy Ken's 1960 Chevy C10 Apache. He bought this truck a few years ago, and this truck has been in here before. I'm sure I have had other videos. We've done several little upgrades and things like that, like installing these mirrors and factory OEM emblems. We did the vinyl on the tailgate. A few months back, we did have Mikey install the intake and carburetor on the engine, but today we are actually, let me turn this light on. We have this whole thing torn down now. Myself tore this thing down yesterday, a little bit of help from Teo, and we went ahead and got the radiator out of the way. We pulled the alternator off, moved the power steering out of the way. We got the water pump off, the timing cover off, crank pulley off. We removed the spark plugs, spark plug wires, and the headers. So what we are doing is painting the engine. We are going to be doing it in the bay. We're not going to be removing this engine. I know a lot of you guys might think that, like, hey, there's just a few more bolts and a couple more wires and stuff like that, but that's not the deal. That's not what's going on here. He really just wanted us to paint what you could see, but we were going to be installing a lot of upgrades and stuff like that, so we just had to get it kind of stripped down, and we're utilize the lift and paint as much of it as we can, especially down there. We are going to be using the lift. So today I'm going to have Teo start prepping this thing out and getting it nice and clean and prepped out. Of course, these valve covers are going to be replaced, so we're going to leave these on there while we do the dirty work. That way we can make sure a bunch of dirt and sanding dust doesn't go in there. We're also going to make sure we prevent stuff from getting inside the timing chain area as well. So we're going to go ahead and get this kind of prepped out and get rid of this teal. And you can kind of see it before I had the orange as well. That is what we are going back to. So we're going to be doing these cylinder heads and the block in the OEM orange color. And so that's the goal today, is get it prepped out, get the valve covers removed, get it nice and clean all the way around, and start taping the area off. We'll just lay some plastic and paper around the perimeter. We'll tape off the intake, the valve cover area, and the timing chain area, and a little bit of that cross member. And we'll go ahead and get this thing ready for paint, and possibly paint it today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. We're not in any hurry. We do have the truck for a couple of weeks. He is going to be out of town. And you can see over here in my mess of things, you can see all the parts we've taken off. So here are the exhaust headers. So we took those out. You can see here we have the fan. We have the pulley for the water pump. We have our harmonic balancer and crank pulley. You can see we got a couple brackets. We got the old timing cover, the old water pump. We got the dipstick tube, the dipstick, and you can see I have a mess of tools and bolts. Tools over here. There's our old original radiator, and you can see right next to it we have a brand new aluminum radiator here. So this is what's going to be going back in. Pretty much once we get it painted, we're just going to be doing an assembly job. So we got a brand new radiator going in, but before that goes in, we do have some exhaust wrap. Now we are going to be attempting to wrap the headers. Looks like he's got some nice black exhaust wrap. We're going to go ahead and wrap these headers, give them a cleaner look. If he said if you don't want to do that, we can paint them with some high temp paint here, but we don't have to use that. We can just use the wrap. Also, he has some breathers here for the valve covers. He has some brand new OEM AC Delco spark plugs. We have a new fuel filter. We have some sealant. We have some spark plug boot heat covers. These are so the wires don't get melted onto the headers. Great little upgrade. I need to get some of those for my C10. You can see we have some brand new heater hose here with some clamps. He's got all the gaskets for the timing covers, valve cover gaskets, and you can see here he's got some REM Flex exhaust manifold header gaskets. Those should crush down pretty nice. These are really thick gaskets, and they are made to crush down, so they really help, especially when you have aftermarket headers and stuff like that. And you can see the valve covers there. Super clean. Very nice choice. Those will look really good with the black exhaust wrap and the brand new radiator. And down here, you can see here he has the gear oil for the rear differential. We already pulled the rear diff cover and got it clean and ready. We're just waiting on a gasket to put that in. We got some fresh antifreeze with some royal purple motor oil, and a brand new fan spacer. We also have a brand new aluminum fan to go with that as well, and we have an OEM Performance Chevrolet timing cover. Has a seal already put in place, and that will match the valve covers really nice. So we also have a brand new water pump. We have some brand new Allen style header bolts. These will be nice because that sometimes with these headers there's not enough room to get a socket in place as far as clearance from the runners from the flange. So these bolts are a great upgrade to put in place. That way you guys don't have to worry about sockets. Some valve cover bolts here, and yeah, so there you have it, guys. A bunch of little goodies, but basically it was just a big tear down job, and we will go ahead and get this thing painted, and we'll get it all clean and ready to go back together, and I'm sure it will look really clean. I'm sure we'll be able to get, there's quite a bit of room here, so we got quite a bit of access to get access to the blocks are painted. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go up on this thing before I let you guys go. It's a beautiful truck here. About a year ago I had Red go ahead and put on those mirrors, and I laid out the markings for the emblems. We do plan on taking off those Chevrolet stickers at some point, but for now those are gonna stay on there until he's ready to do some paint work. There's a good chance that when we remove those, it could potentially damage the paint that's underneath. He does have a couple small paint repairs that we do need to perform on the hood. So when he's ready to do that, we will go ahead and remove those Chevrolet stickers off the cowl panels, and we will repaint them and refinish if we have to. So I'm just going up one more click, and there we go. So underneath here, you can see I already have the rear diff cover off. Got it pretty cleaned out. We are just waiting on the 10-bolt gasket here. A lot of times there's RTV and stuff like that on these, which is fine, but they do make a gasket in this case, and it's just a much better choice because it doesn't create so much of a mess. So we are waiting on that gasket. It should be here this morning, and we'll go ahead and seal up this rear diff cover, and we'll go ahead and reinstall the gear oil that he has supplied us with. And I'm gonna walk underneath the engine compartment, and you can see there, we're gonna get that as much of that cleaned as possible. We'll tape off the starter a little bit, and we have quite a bit of room on this side. I already put the brand new oil filter on. We're trying to do all the dirty work as possible first before we do the assembly. We really don't want to be spraying any cleaning solvents or anything like that after we have fresh paint on this thing, because solvents like to eat fresh paint. So there you go. From the underneath, there is our timing chain. But we will be getting this super clean first thing. We'll be doing a little bit of prepping and sanding and scuffing and cleaning at the same time, and we'll go ahead and get it cleaned off one last time, remove the valve covers, and do a good final masking job. So there you have it. Let me know what you guys think about in the comments about the Acura RDX. I'm super excited to show you guys probably in the next video, and just maybe tomorrow, possibly the next day, I'll give you guys another update of the Acura RDX and potentially the 1960 Chevy C10. So like, comment, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one. Rah.
Ooh, like LeBron though, or like Bonzo. Ooh, I'm a baller, yeah, shot caller, yeah. They love me, you can't touch me, nah, can't trust me. I'm too lucky. Look at me, look at you, what you see, what you do.